You're not late, you're not lost. You are exactly where you need to be to take the next step. Imagine waking up from a dream so real that you confuse it with life, and then realizing that the real world was the true dream. What would you feel if you discovered that death is not an end, but an awakening? I know. This idea might sound strange, even frightening. After all, we were taught to fear the unknown. But what if I told you that ancient religions, brilliant philosophers, and even near-death experiences all point in the same direction? Death does not extinguish the light of consciousness. It simply sets it free. In the spiritual plane, what motivates each step is the deep desire to evolve, to expand one's own light. Death, then, reveals itself not as a final point, but as a comma in a story written across many lifetimes. Each soul, upon leaving the physical body, enters a space of transition, a kind of cosmic waiting room, where consciousness gradually adjusts to the new reality. Here, time as we know it does not exist. Anxiety, fear, attachment to material things are left behind, though not always immediately. Each soul experiences this process according to its level of awakening and understanding. It is also in this initial stage that fundamental choices arise. Revisiting the past life, meeting spiritual guides, planning the next steps. Nothing is imposed. Freedom is absolute. The soul decides what it needs in order to continue its journey of growth. Understanding this reality changes everything. It gives each moment a new meaning. The pain of loss softens, guilt dissolves, and the fear of death, which so often paralyzes us, is replaced by a deep respect for existence itself. Many believe that at the moment of death, everything is magically resolved. But the truth is that the soul's awakening in the spiritual plane is a moment of profound reflectio, and it is not always easy. The great problem is that many souls, upon arriving on the other side, feel lost. Some become trapped in old patterns, in resentments, guilt, and attachments they carried from physical life. Others do not understand what they truly need to learn in order to continue evolving. This creates a kind of spiritual fog, where the soul feels confused and stagnant. Imagine waking up from an intense dream, not knowing exactly where you are. That's what it's like for many souls. That's why there's an essential process called the life review. In this phase, the soul, with the help of spiritual mentors, beings of immense wisdom and compassion, revisits the life just completed, not to be judged, but to understand. There's only a loving and truthful analysis. What was lived, what was learned, what could have been done differently. It is like watching a movie of your own existence, feeling, not just seeing, the impact of each thought, each action, each choice. This moment of reflection is profoundly liberating. It is the moment when the soul understands its own limitations and potentials, clearly seeing the lessons it still needs to learn. With this clarity, it can then begin to plan its next steps. Knowing that this movie of life awaits us can be an urgent call to live more consciously today. Every word we say, every gesture of love or indifference, every choice of courage or fear, it all matters. It all echoes beyond matter. Don't wait for the spiritual plane to reflect on your life. Take a moment now. Ask yourself, if I were to watch the movie of my life today, what would I feel? Use this question as your compass. Let it guide your next actions. Our great mistake is imagining that the soul plans a perfect existence, without pain, without challenges. In truth, it's exactly the opposite. The growth of the soul happens through experiences, and the most powerful experiences often involve pain, overcoming, forgiveness, and unconditional love. Here is the central concept. The soul chooses its missions based on what it still needs to balance, learn, or strengthen. If, for example, in a past life, the soul developed great intelligence but neglected compassion, it might choose a life where it will need to connect more deeply with human emotions. If there was pride, perhaps it will come into a mission of humility. If there was fear, a challenge of courage. What defines the next mission is not a punishment imposed from the outside. It is a loving decision born from within the soul itself, with the support of its spiritual mentors. They help the soul visualize the best paths, but the final choice is always free. When you feel a strong calling, that dream that insists on living inside you, that challenge that repeats like an echo, that pain that seems to make no sense, pay attention. None of this is random. They're clues about the mission your soul embraced before being born, and more. Many of your deepest fears also carry the seeds of your mission. The fear of not being accepted, of failing, of being vulnerable, often indicate exactly the field in which the soul came to learn to set itself free. And now comes the question, why were you born exactly where you were born? Why in a particular family? With those characteristics, with those unique challenges and affections. When we talk about choosing parents, we are talking about one of the most important decisions the soul makes before reincarnating. Nothing is random. Even in the hardest cases where there is rejection, abandonment, or suffering, there is a profound purpose behind it. But looking only through the eyes of matter, we often judge our families as too imperfect, too problematic, or distant from what we idealized. Yet from the soul's point of view, what matters is not comfort, but growth. The soul chooses the parents who offer exactly the conditions necessary to experience what it needs. Sometimes this means being born into homes full of love and support, to learn about trust, joy, and self-esteem. Other times it means incarnating into dysfunctional or challenging families, to work on resilience, compassion, self-forgiveness, or even to break ancestral cycles of pain. This choice is not random or forced. The soul, together with its spiritual mentors, analyzes various possibilities before deciding. It sees the energy of the future parents, their tendencies, their karmas, their potentials for evolution. It evaluates the environment in which it will grow, the values it will receive, the challenges it will face. Many souls even make pacts before birth, sacred agreements with other souls who commit to play important roles: father, mother, siblings, grandparents. Sometimes these souls already know each other from other lives, with deep bonds of love or mutual learning debts. Begin to look at your family as part of your evolutionary plan. Even if there are hurts, wounds, or distances, there is also a hidden opportunity. Ask yourself, what did I need to learn by living exactly in this family? Maybe it's forgiveness, maybe it's acceptance, maybe it's the challenge of forging a different path. Let go of the victim role and take on the role of the spiritual protagonist of your life. Understand that your soul, with all its wisdom, chose your parents knowing exactly what would be necessary for you to flourish. Recognize the sacredness of your story. Honor the place you came from, not out of obligation, but out of awareness. This releases an immense inner strength and connects you even more to your true purpose. Have you ever stopped to think about why you were born in this country, in this culture, at this specific time in history? None of this is by chance. Every detail of your living environment was carefully chosen by your soul before reincarnation. Living day by day, many people feel they are trapped in harsh realities: poverty, violence, inequality, or even environments where values seem reversed. In the midst of challenges, it's easy to believe that the world is just an unfair and senseless place. But when we look with the eyes of the soul, we see something completely different. Culture, country, era, all are settings for learning. The soul chooses its living environment as part of the script it helped to write. If it needs to learn compassion, it may be born in places where pain is visible, where it will be called to act. If it needs to work on courage, it might come in times of intense change. If it needs to develop creativity and adaptability, it may choose cultures rich in diversity but challenging in resources. Nothing, absolutely nothing, is random. The time in which you were born also has a specific function. Each generation carries a collective mission: to transform old patterns, to heal wounds, to open new paths. You are part of this. Your soul chose to live now because it knew this would be the best time to develop your potentials. When you understand that the environment you live in is not a mistake, but part of your soul's plan, something inside you changes. You begin to see possibilities where before you only saw limitations. Do you feel you were born in a country in crisis? Maybe your mission is precisely to help build something new. Were you born into a rigid and conservative culture? Maybe your soul came to question patterns and open minds. Are you living in times of internal and external wars? Maybe your task is to be a point of peace amidst the chaos. You are not in the wrong place. You are a living part of the greater plan,